So what is the biggest challenge to getting ready to retire? You know, a lot of folks would say it's the financial aspects of preparing to retire, building up that nest egg. And candidly, that probably is number one, but followed very closely behind that is the psychological aspects of getting ready to retire. And I do a lot of videos on the financial side of things. So today I wanted to talk about the non-financial, the psychological challenges to getting ready to retire. And for some folks, probably half the people, they're very excited about retiring, right? It's about hitting the number. And as soon as they can hit the number, then they're excited and they want to be able to retire. But then there's another group of folks that, you know, it's, yes, hitting the number is a huge hurdle, but even once they get there, then having the courage to, you know, they've won, right? So think of the merry-go-round in the old days where there was a brass ring. So they've won, they've hit the number, but now it's getting them to reach out and grab that brass ring and actually retire. And oftentimes that comes across as, well, I just want a little bit of a buffer. You know, yes, my number is, I'll just make something up, $1 million. And we're at $1 million, but you know what? It'd really be nice to have $1.25 million. And now that you've got a base of $1 million, it may not take too long to get there, right? That's 25% away. Where when you think about how long it took to save your first $250,000, which is what this buffer is that they're trying to create, you know, that could have taken a decade, that could have taken 15 years. So that can take a long time, but once you've got $1 million working for you, it can be 2 years if the stock market cooperates, 3 years. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a buffer. In fact, I think it's probably wise, but just make sure that it's not an excuse for something else that might be that you're not ready to retire, right? Psychologically, it's a big leap. It's one of the biggest milestones that we cross in life, right? When we think about when we're a kid, the first milestone is graduating high school, and then it's leaving home. Maybe you're going to college, so it's heading off to college, or maybe you've built up a trade and now you're gonna maybe move to a new city to practice that trade. And then after that, many folks get married, so that's another milestone. And then having a kid, that's another milestone. And think about it, you know, for high school graduations, we have commencements. When you get married, we have a wedding. When you have a baby, we have a baby shower. So we have these milestones, these rituals to help us cross that bridge. Interestingly enough, there's a bridge behind me. I don't know if you can see it, probably not. But anyways, a bridge to get us from point A to point B. But with retirement, we really don't have that bridge. And I think that's one of the reasons it can be difficult psychologically is we as a society, you know, retirement's a fairly new concept. Certainly in human history, it's a very new concept. So we don't have those rituals yet. And change can be hard for folks. I'm gonna get up and we'll go for a walk along this beautiful riverside. So change can be hard for folks. And you know, anything you can do to help with that ritual, to help get comfortable for that. And I think the preparation, just like it takes decades of time to get ready to retire, I think it also takes decades, not decades, but it takes years to mentally prepare to retire. Or in the best case scenario, it takes years. Or the way it's done best is to give yourself years, because one of the things is just finding a new purpose in life. And for many of us, we've been working 20, 30, 40 years. And now it's time to give up that identity. It's time to give up that routine. It's time to give up our friends at our workplace. And we'll still be friends with them, but it'll be different, right? Because we don't share that commonality with them, showing up Monday morning at 8 a.m., looking forward to, you know, when there's a holiday and we get a long weekend, sharing the mission of the company, sharing when there's a challenge with the company, trying to solve that challenge. So we're not doing that. So there's a lot to be replaced there. And there are 4 different phases to transitioning into retirement. And the first phase for many folks, not for everybody, but the first phase for many folks is it kind of feels like vacation, right? Every weekend's a long weekend. And you don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. in order to get your workout done before work and put up with traffic and a commute. Here's the bridge. I'm on the bridge right now. But so the first phase of getting ready to retirement is that transition. The second phase is, frankly, beginning to feel a little bit of a loss of what you've given up, right? You've given up that routine. You've given up part of your identity. You've given up the purpose, part of the purpose of your life, what you've done. It's been a big part of your life. So there's things that we've lost. And so it's coming to grips with what we've lost. And then then the next phase is kind of an iterating phase, right? So we come to grips with, okay, we have given up some things. Yes, retirement is great. We're looking forward to it. But like anything in life, it also has its pros and its cons. And one of the cons with retirement is it's a big life change. And so adapting to that life change takes time. And so that's the third phase, is kind of iterating and finding out, what is your new purpose going to be? What are you looking forward to doing in retirement? And some people are going to be lucky. Some people are going to find what that new thing is right away. And for other people, it's going to take some time to find what their new thing, what the new thing is going to be for them. So that's the third phase. And then the fourth phase is just where we're happy. We've completed the transition, and now we could never imagine going back to actually working again, because we have a fulfilling life outside of our career. But getting back to that psychological issue, yes, the financial side of things is really important. As a financial advisor for over 20 years, I spend a lot of my time with that. But I think one of the things that separates out a good financial advisor from somebody that can really have a powerful impact on your life, somebody that might be a great financial advisor, is they're helping you with these non-quantitative aspects of the retirement. And encouraging you. You know, I've said it on my channel before that once you're 60 years old, most of us have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time in front of us. And so, yes, that transition can be daunting. Yes, you know, many of us are never going to feel mentally like, okay, we're ready. You know, we've hit the financial number, but are we mentally ready to do it? And that's why, you know, oftentimes people are surprised. They have a loved one that kind of refuses to retire, and they're like, I just don't get it. You know, we have enough money to retire. And maybe they're married, and one of the spouses is looking forward to these future adventures, and the other spouse is still holding on to, you know, their career of 20, 30, 40 years. And people don't get it. But the issue is it's not monetary, it's not financial, it's the mental side of things. And so helping that person address that and realize, you know, unless you're going to work until you die, which few of us want to do, at some point we need to do this transition. So I think, you know, once you have the financial resources, and even before then, as I said, a couple years before, thinking about what your purpose is, but once you have those financial resources, then thinking about a couple years ahead of time and maybe testing out what does retirement look like, both from a purpose standpoint. You know, maybe you get more involved in a not-for-profit organization that you're interested in, or maybe you have a hobby business and maybe you start doing that in evenings and the weekends, just to see if that might be something that could give you joy in retirement. So you test that out. Another thing that I think is important to test out is your budget in retirement. Can you test drive your budget? Let's say you're spending $8,000 a month and you say, we're going to cut that back to $6,000 a month in retirement. I'm just making it up, but many people think about, you know, 25% reduction in their spending. Hopefully, you know, you don't have to take much of a reduction, but if you are taking a reduction like that, I think it's important to test drive it as best you can. Try to live on that lower budget for at least a couple months and ask yourself, does that feel sacrificial? Because if you go to a financial advisor and you say, you know, let's plan on me spending $6,000 a month, let's adjust that for inflation every year. So if you say $6,000 a month, but you know what, it ends up being closer to $6,500 or $7,000, even a difference of $500 a month can make a big difference. So test drive that ahead of time. And on that subject, having a feel of what the average retiree is spending in retirement, which we can estimate by average retirement income, I think is really important. So you can kind of see, you know, are you spending a lot more than average retirees, or maybe are you sacrificing unnecessarily? And that's why I made this video here that talks about the average income for retirees in America. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.